Hello folks, Matt with Eddie's Guitars, coming to you as always from St. Louis, Missouri here. Mind switching that camera for me? Thank you. Here I am. Happy Saturday folks. If you're joining us, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We're taking a look at a couple really sweet guitars that we just received this past week from my friend Jeff Jewitt. A couple of OM guitars, in fact, a couple different OM guitars, but a couple similarities as well. The guitar that I'm holding right now is an OM cutaway. You can see a beautiful Venetian cutaway here, nice kind of soft curved cutaway. And this has a fairly deep body, a little extra deep body to this guitar here. You can see a beautiful European spruce top. Nice blonde color there. And gorgeous, geez, beautiful sinker mahogany here. And we're going to do a couple full-blown demos on these guitars that we're kind of showcasing today, but because we just got them in this past week, and these are both just extra sweet sounding OMs, I wanted to share them with you. Overtones in that deep body are nice. Deep sound to it, very nice. sound. Man, if you know anything about me at all, you probably already know I'm a big sucker for European spruce and mahogany OM guitars, especially very, very well-built ones. And judging by the voice and playability of this example here, I would say this is a rather exceptional example of that kind of magical combination of things. Very nice. Sinker Mahogany is quickly climbing the charts for me as being one of my favorite tone woods. It's just amazing sounding stuff, and oftentimes, as you can see here, very, very beautiful stuff as well. Just gorgeous grain and nice interesting character to that back set there. This is the other OM that we just received. Baby. Just received this week, excuse me there. Really the same woods, European spruce on the top, and again, I'm going to show you that Sinker Mahogany on the back and sides there. Beautiful stuff, very clean. This is a little bit different looking set than that first one, which we'll take a look at the other one again in a moment, but really, really nice looking wood here. And Jeff Jewitt is kind of made his name in the guitar industry in the Finnish world, and now he's building very, very nice flat top acoustic guitars. So naturally, it kind of goes without saying, the finish work on these guitars are extraordinary, just really clean, very, very nice, clear, very high polish finishes on these guitars. So. This guitar is a little different. It's got a really beautiful, I'm going to try to show on this angle here, really beautiful Zeracody fingerboard on this guitar. And I do love me some Zeracody when it comes to bridges and fingerboards and just little extra details like that. Really nice Sinker Mahogany ring on the rosette there as well. Herringbone trim around the top. No pick guard, very, very clean. Maple binding on the body and the neck here. Mr. Jeff Jewitt is joining us right now via live comments. Jeff, good to have you here. Thank you for these most excellent OMs. I've been enjoying these a lot. And Jeff, before he shipped these guitars to us, said, man, they're both really good. I'm really happy with both of them. He said, play both of them. He said, I'm really a big fan of the cutaway deep body, but he said he was the most surprised about this guitar. And after playing both of them, I think I hear what he means, because this sucker has got some meat behind it for sure. Let's see if I can find a pick here. Just the right amount of sparkle up there in the treble. Not totally dry, just enough of those overtones and harmonics. folks are just joining us, we're taking a casual look at a couple of real recent Jeff Jewitt guitars that just came into the shop this past week, a couple of OMs to be specific. The guitar I'm holding here is a beautiful European spruce over, again, that beautiful sinker mahogany on the back and sides. And we've got another guitar next to it here we're going to take another listen to, just go back and forth a little bit. And as always, I would encourage you folks who are watching right now, joining us live on this beautiful Saturday, extra hot and humid Saturday, 90 degrees already here in St. Louis. Tell us where you're viewing from. Drop in, say hello.
Rohit says, sounds amazing.
Rohid?
Yeah.
Rohid said, sounds amazing even through phone speakers. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We're some of our earlier, from a while ago, live feeds were a little less than savory in terms of audio quality, so we're trying to up all of that for you folks to give these guitars a fair representation of what they're doing, at least as much as they can be through a live situation. But we appreciate you folks bearing with us. If there's anything that we can do to make it more enjoyable, except for not have me in them, just let us know, and we'll accommodate that. I've got my good friend Griffin here behind the scenes joining me today, helping me with the questions and any of the technical situation that we've got going on here. So like I said, if you guys have questions, send them in. I like comments more than questions. I really appreciate those. No, I'm just kidding. But again, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Rohit was asking if you could talk a little bit about the tonal differences between sinker hog and regular Honduran hog.
Rohid asks, can I talk about the differences, the tonal differences between regular Honduran mahogany and sinker mahogany? Now, in my experience with, I've played more regular Honduran mahogany throughout, the last however many years than I have sinker mahogany. Just as a heads up. The sinker mahogany that I tend to get in here tends to have an extra presence to it. It's not quite as dry as Honduran mahogany tends to be, and I really like it for that reason, especially in the context of an individual playing by themselves with a mahogany guitar. You're going to have those same strong fundamentals that Honduran mahogany is known for having, but there's just extra information that seems to be present, an airiness, perhaps a bloom, some of those fancy words. A little bit more overtone presence, a little bit more harmonic stuff happening typically in sinker mahogany, to my ear at least. So I think these are both of these Jewett OMs here are shining examples of, OMs that have that strong present fundamental, but you kind of let it linger a little bit and you start hearing other things poking their heads out. And I really like that. The magic kind of almost happens a little bit in the sustain, I think, with stuff like sinker mahogany, because it's the delivery, that initial attack is not worlds different than Honduran mahogany, kind of normal stuff. But I think it's the stuff that happens after that kind of makes the sinker mahogany special. Great question. Thank you. Most importantly, if you folks find yourself outside in front of a grill this weekend, I'm going to need to know what you guys are grilling, because I'm not getting a lot of grill feedback here, and I'm frankly disappointed. So if we can talk about some meat, and I hope that's not an invitation for anything terrible, but let me know what you're grilling if you guys are grilling this weekend. What's that?
I said grilling you with great questions. Mr. Rick Linville would like to know what tuners come on that guitar.
Mr. Mr. Rick Linville would like to know what tuning machines come on these guitars. In fact, these two Jewetts here have exactly the same tuning machines. They are the Godot 510. These happen to be the polished gold models here with the black buttons on there. The Godot 510s, my oh my, are these high quality tuning machines. For quite a few years, I was kind of a disciple of the Waverly tuning machines, that open gear, real traditional look, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, the Waverlys are great, but man, the feel, the finesse, the fine nature of the Godot 510, holy cow, they are exceptional. I've got Godot 510s on my Santa Cruz fingerstyle model, and I also have Godot 510s on the Ryan Paradiso that I just received earlier this past week, actually. I couldn't hope for anything better. They're phenomenal tuners. Good question.
Mr. Jim Bailey would like to know the backstory on the 2021 used Jeff Jewitt that we had. He was just curious why it was considered used.
Tell me his name again.
Jim Bailey.
Jim asks about the 2021 used Jeff Jewitt guitar. If you've been on our website and seen the inventory section of our Jewitt guitars, you'll see a fairly recently built used Jewitt guitar. I believe that's the JG00, kind of Jeff's kind of L00 style guitar. That guitar specifically has a wider than usual nut width, so it is a fingerstyle dream on that guitar. We're actually selling that guitar on a consignment basis for a customer who had the guitar built for himself, and some of the ergonomics were not quite to his flavor after it was all said and done. For better or worse, sometimes that just happens. So he's going to move it along to the next player. That is an outstanding sounding guitar, really woody, has that kind of attitude to it. That's a neat guitar. If somebody was going to play, kind of a traditional ragtime kind of a thing, that would be a phenomenal guitar. It's dry, it's woody, it's got a real dynamic, especially in the mids, that kind of just punchy in the mids, which is a lot of fun in a little box like that. So cool guitar. Ultimately, it was just not the right fit for the gentleman who ordered the guitar, so we are now selling it on his behalf, and I think we're going to find it a great home because it's a beautiful piece. Great freaking burst on that guitar. Anybody grilling this weekend? Did I ask that yet? guitar right there. Love that. Love it, love it, love it.
No grill comments, but we got a comment saying that tune would be a great porch picking tune while your grill's heating up.
I'll tell you, man, who commented that?
UAL 320.
UAL 320 says that would be a great tune to pick on the porch while you're waiting for your grill to heat up. Man, I appreciate that. That's the best compliment I could ever hope to hear about one of my tunes. I appreciate that.
Like a fan favorite, that song has a name.
Does that song have a name? And who commented? I'm sorry.
Formica Fanfare.
Formica Fanfare asked, does that last tune have a name? And I'm embarrassed to say, no, it doesn't at this stage, which is going to be a project, because that's one of the tunes I'm going to be putting on the instrumental record situation. So thanks for reminding me. I have to come up with song names. Geez, one more thing to do.
Mr. John K. hanging out. He says
John K.
both are fantastic. He gives a slight edge to the non-cutaway version.
John K. says he gives a slight edge to the guitar I'm holding right here of the two that we're primarily taking a look at today. This is the kind of standard depth non-cutaway. Again, Jewett OM, European spruce. Something's out of tune somewhere. European spruce. Thank you for your patience there. And man, I'm just looking at this on the monitor. This is freaking awesome. Very nice sinker mahogany here. Very nice indeed. Great sides too. Just cool figure. Sorry for the reflections, folks. We're trying. I don't know if you can see that rosette there. I'm going to try to hold this up a little bit. Nice sinker mahogany on the rosette too. Really cool. And Ziricoti on the fingerboard of this guitar. Really nice looking stuff. I love Ziricoti fingerboards. Give me some grill comments. I'm ready.
Ann is grilling up some peaches.
Ann is grilling up some peaches. Boy, oh boy, that's...
Yeah, pineapples, not peaches.
Man, that sounds pretty good to me. I like a good smoked peach.
Jim's got got some local turkey burgers, some local veggies, some craft beer.
Jim, you said?
Yeah.
Jim's got some local turkey burgers, local, what else?
Local veggies.
Local veggies, and some good craft beer. That sounds good to me. Sounds like a weekend to me.
And for Micah Fanfare, we'd also like to know if we ever get green fields.
For Micah Fanfare would like to know, do we ever get Greenfield guitars? Great question. Michael Greenfield is a ridiculously talented builder, highly regarded builder for all of the right reasons. Unfortunately, I've got to say it's very rare for us, or at least recently it's been rare for us. Michael doesn't build an overabundance of guitars, and I don't tend to see an overabundance of his guitars out there on the used market. We are not a representative of Greenfield, at least at this stage of the game. If that's an option to change, I'd be very enthusiastic about having Michael's guitars in the shop, to say the least. That's an understatement. Maybe there's a conversation to be had there. If anybody is, a family member or best friends with Michael Greenfield, send him my email address, please. I'd love to have his stuff in here. A lot of, probably some of the world's most highly regarded acoustic flat top players out there play Michael's guitars. So, and again, for the right reasons. So, great builder. Highly respect that guy. Honest sounding guitar. I love that. I was going to say it'd be a great recording guitar, but here I am in front of microphones recording it like an idiot. Okay, so we I don't often do this, but I'm just curious. We've got, I think, one vote at least so far for the non-cutaway, non-deep body OM here. I'd be curious what other folks' thoughts are between these two, because I'm sitting here listening to them playing them, just sitting right above them. Man, I'm having a hard time picking a favorite. If I don't know if it's necessary to do such a thing, but. How does that go? There's a mysteriousness about this guitar. There's something lingering in those overtones that I'm digging a lot. That must be the extra body depth that's giving it something there. Very, very nice. Questions, folks?
Yeah, Jim actually wanted to know your thoughts on comparisons between these Jewitts and the Iris guitars we were trying out.
Oh, sure.
He's from Vermont, so we'd like to know how,
Very nice.
how his local company is faring.
Jeff from Vermont asks, how do the Jewett guitars... You said Jeff, right?
Jim,
I'm sorry.
Well, Jewett guitars, I can
I
understand.
know. All the J's. All the J's. We're Jewing it to it today. Jewett to it. Jim asks, how do the Jewett guitars stack up compared to the Iris guitars, which we were talking about, was that last week?
Yeah.
Is that right? A week ago?
Yeah.
Honestly, they're kind of different animals.
Yeah.
Both super nice, but it honestly kind of apples and oranges a little bit. For one thing, at least these two guitars. I'm not gonna go into every other Jewett guitar that we have in stock right now, because we do have some more, Gibson inspired L00, curvy, round shoulder kind of guitars. We do have those, but just in the context of these two guitars here versus the Iris guitars, most of those Iris guitars are either kind of Kalamazoo-y or Gibson-y kind of inspired sort of designs. They're just in their curves, their aesthetics in a lot of ways. So different animals for sure. The Iris guitars, without question, are going to come in at a lower price point. So it's still incredibly well made, and I mean everybody here. I mean, Griffin, come up here and talk about it for half an hour. Everybody here is blown away by the Iris guitars, and the fact that they're coming in at like $2,700. I mean, I know that's a lot of money. I'm not crazy, but that's a lot of guitar for less than $3,000. The Jewett guitars are going to come in starting at a higher price point than that. A lot of what you see here is very exquisite in terms of the tone woods, and you have to bear in mind the Jewett guitar company is Jeff Jewitt. It's one guy. He doesn't build a lot of guitars, and he puts a lot of time and effort and handwork and finish work into each of his guitars. And I think, again, just simply based on, if I was blindfolded and I was just able to hear this guitar and feel this guitar, I would know it's a very, very nice guitar, regardless of the visuals of it, because just the playability and just the character and the voicing that he's kind of allowed these woods to have is very, very impressive. So I hate to say apples and oranges, but fear not, the your hometown folks there at Iris are, I mean, as far as I can tell at this point, hitting all grand slams out of the ballpark. They're just doing a great job. So, great question.
We got 3 votes for the non-cutaway.
3 votes for the non-cutaway. No way.
And then both TV and JG have kind words. Just dropping nice and sounds good in the comments.
TB and JG, appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for contributing to our comment section.
And then JG also had a question of, do you think that cutaways necessarily take away from tone, or is it more of just a more EQ effect, and like how does it affect it? And do you think the upper fret accessibility is worth it?
JG asks, in my opinion, does the cutaway have a word that for me again? I'm sorry, I don't want to ad lib.
Totally. Do you think they take away from the tone?
Does the cutaway take away from the tone of an acoustic guitar like this? And oh boy, I guess it depends on what your interpretation of taking away means. Does it alter the sound of the guitar? I'm sure it does. It's physics. You're altering the airspace, which creates the sound that hits our ears. So yeah, it's changing the sound. Is it diminishing the sound or lessening the quality, the range, the response? I don't think so. Is it shifting something somewhere? It has to, absolutely. It would be really tough for me to say it's a detriment to the voice of the guitar, because I've played way too many cutaway flat top acoustics that sound unreal, and they've got cutaways. And I can't imagine that it's going to sound 5, 10, 15, 20% better without a cutaway, because Bourgeois is a great example. Kevin Ryan's a great example. Santa Cruz is a great example. I've played a million of all of those, both with and without cutaways. I'd own all of them if I was allowed to do that. No, I don't think it's a detriment. Does it change things? Yeah, but it's so hard to say. Well, boy, when you put a cutaway on, you can expect 10% less mid-range or something to that effect. It shifts something, but it's probably different on every guitar, So, great question, though. Again, with the tough ones, I appreciate those tough ones. All right, so we've got a few votes for the non-cutaway standard depth here. So we're gonna give the people what they want, I guess. Why not? And there is a beauty to that as well. Seem to have just a touch snappier note separation out of her. That baby's got some sustain, man. That's somebody asked him earlier about the differences between Honduran mahogany and sinker mahogany, and one of the aspects I should have mentioned but failed was oftentimes, it's not a sure thing, I don't think, but oftentimes the sustain in sinker mahogany seems to just roll out a little bit longer, stay a little longer, a little stronger, longer. David says the lower bout looks very similar to a Guild D, you said. The upper bouts on this guitar are going to be... okay, I'm looking at the monitor now, and I think that I might understand what you're talking about. This is rather squared off here on where the body meets the neck. I'm trying to get these words out. Bear with me. The Guilds are also very, very square, the Guild Dreadnoughts. So I see the reference there. This is certainly a smaller guitar all the way around, both in its waist, its upper bout, its lower bout. The depth of the guitar is shallower, but I see what you're talking, kind of that nice squared off joint where the body meets the neck there. Number 4 for the non-cut. No way.
I like the cutaway.
I didn't tell you folks is I'm going to start singing this week. I'm just kidding. There's no way that there's not more people that watch this that are not grilling. Like, what is going on here?
Jim's gotta mow the lawn,
I know it's hot, but don't people want smoky meat? What's the deal? Mr. JG.
He says, do you think the evenness, straightness in the fiber/grain structure in the Honduran mahogany gives it the more even response than the sinker mahogany does?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. If you folks didn't hear the question, Mr. JG is asking, do you think the straightness in the fibers of Honduran mahogany give it the more, how did he word it? I'm sorry.
The more response.
The more response, kind of balanced tone. Possibly. I think that there's a reality, or some truth at least, to where sinker mahogany, because of just the nature of it being underwater, being preserved in, what oftentimes is, cold, fresh water. There are minerals from that water that tend to deposit themselves, almost like the wood is like a sponge. And then, of course, when that wood is brought up, when it's dried out and it's at the stage to where it's appropriate to make an instrument out of it, it tends to, I'm leaning on the information of other folks here. So before I pretend to be a genius about something I'm not, I'm repeating information I've been told. I'm not a wood supplier, a wood buyer. I don't cut the trees down. I don't make the guitars out of them, so bear with me. The sinker mahogany tends to be denser because of those minerals that are deposited into it while it's underwater. And when you bring the stuff up, you dry it up, you build a guitar out of it, it tends to be a harder wood, not necessarily weighing a whole bunch more necessarily. But those minerals do something to it that, from what I understand, increases the density of it. So I don't think it's just the grain alone, because I've seen some remarkably straight grain, in fact, Honduran mahogany, that is sinker mahogany. So I think it's more the effects of what the submersion, contributes to the qualities of the wood, more so than grain orientation, for example. So.
Are using sapelli or walnut?
Oh, sure. Angel would like to know, are any boutique builders using sapelli or walnut as a tone wood? Absolutely, yes. In fact, many are. Walnut in particular, depending on what specific type of walnut you're referring to, because it's, again, depending on what type, a domestic wood here for us in the United States, at least, it's a seemingly fairly accessible tone wood that doesn't seem to cost an arm and a leg, at least from the guitar buying standpoint. I think of Collings. They use some gorgeous black walnut. It practically looks like mahogany. It's so perfectly straight in its grain. I think of Kevin Ryan. We actually have a absolutely ridiculous Nightingale 10-string being built right now, with some of the most extraordinary walnut you could ever hope to see. Sapelli, in fact, I just had a conversation with the folks at Ryan. Actually, they have some super tight quilted sapelli. So absolutely, yes. It seems like some of those woods, not only do they have them, but they're not quite as expensive as some of your more exotic rosewoods, ebonies, blackwoods, that type of stuff. So yeah, absolutely, and I've played some that are absolutely killer. I'm particularly anticipating the walnut 10 string from Ryan that we've got in production right now. Just the photos that they've sent me of that alone are enough to get your heartbeat going a little quicker. Great question. Let's talk wood, people. Yeah, let's talk grilling and wood.
On that same topic, Jeffy J was wondering if we could showcase some of the Ziricoti neck. If we could show some of the figure.
Yeah. Jeff, you said?
Yeah.
JJ?
Yeah.
Is asking, man, I'll tell you, we're going to try to. I don't know if this is going to be in focus. You going to switch that camera angle?
Of course.
We're going to try here. No. Oh, shoot. This was not something we were set up for, and we will do better next time, I promise you. Is that camera on autofocus or manual? Yeah. Here's Hondro to save the day. All right. Ziricoti, courtesy of Mr. Hondro. I hope you can see that, because it's got some nice... It's not the most figured piece that I've ever seen, but it's got some nice kind of landscape figure in there. Can we get closer and still have light on it? Center it? You're asking a lot of me right now. I hope that does some justice to something. It's like there's somebody playing a Strat upstairs. Sounds Stratty.
Guess what color it is?
I'm gonna guess that would be I'm gonna say that is a Olympic white. Fiesta red. Man, I was so close to saying red.
I was hoping you were guessing 3-tone sunburst, so I could price is right when I guess 3-tone sunburst.
I was tempted by the 3-tone sunburst. Any more wood questions? I love pretending like I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, Roeth was asking if it was maple binding on the fingerboard.
Roeth asks, is that maple binding on the fingerboard? This is in fact maple binding all the way around. You can see great curl on the body binding there. Very, very nice curly maple. In fact, you can even see the bottom wedge down there. What else do we have? Very nice marquetry back strip on this one. But yes, to answer your question in the most roundabout way possible, that is a very nice curly koa on the edge of the fingerboard there. It's got black dots up on top, so everything is, you got a road map in front of you there, which is nice. So.
To know how you feel about nickel bronze strings with sinker mahogany.
Blair Swanson would like to know, how do I feel about nickel bronze strings with sinker mahogany? And I have to plead at least a little bit of ignorance here, because I don't go way out of my way to play. I'm gonna switch that camera. Thank you. I don't go way out of my way to play a lot of nickel bronze strings personally. There's a few models that come stock with nickel bronze strings on them from a few manufacturers that we represent here, but I don't go way out of my way to play them myself, because that's a rather strong in its fundamentals string, and I'm more of I need every handicap and assistance that I can get in terms of overtones and lushness and all that. Just because of the type of playing that I do. So I hate to say I don't have tons of experience with nickel bronze on sinker mahogany. was going to say call Tony Policastro, but as I'm saying that out loud, I realize his Thompson that he got from us here at Eddie's is Cuban mahogany, not sinker mahogany, but I know he uses nickel bronze strings on it a fair amount. So don't call him. That will not help you at all. But I imagine that would be a good combination because, again, just thinking out loud here, that sinker mahogany tends to have a little bit of extra, harmonic kind of thing happening to it, a little liveliness in there. I think the dryness of those, or at least that's how I perceive them, is those nickel bronze don't have as much of a bloom to them as like a phosphor bronze string. I just prefer the bloom because my playing needs it, frankly. I imagine that would be a great combination in the right context. Somebody doing ragtime, somebody doing bluegrass, somebody doing country western music. That would be cool for sure. And one thing I have to say I have noticed and liked about the nickel bronze strings is they're not insanely bright. They're pretty fat sounding. So if you've got a mahogany guitar or whatever the tone wood is that's on the bright side, that's a nice string to sort of fatten things up a little bit without getting shrill or anything, which is kind of nice, kind of meaty sound to those strings. Thanks for the question.
JG wanted to know, what are your thoughts on wood binding versus synthetic material binding?
Ooh, man. JG,
Big one.
this is something I could talk about all day, baby. JG asks, what are my opinions on wood binding versus synthetic materials? Instantaneously, as you read me that question, I thought of Michael Millard. Instantaneously. If you folks are hopefully familiar with Michael Millard of Froggy Bottom Guitars. Years ago, I mean, it's probably been 10 years ago at least, when we were early in our relationship with Froggy Bottom Guitars, being a dealer for Froggy Bottom, I asked Michael, hey, I don't see this on your options or price list or whatever, but could you guys build a guitar with tortoiseshell binding on it? And he very enthusiastically and quickly said, nope, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And I said, okay, that's okay. Do you mind if I ask why you won't do it? And he said, I've repaired too many old Guild guitars to put synthetic bindings on my guitars. And what he's referring to is basically, I know old Martins, old Guilds, a number of other brands that I won't pick on any more than I already have used, kind of synthetic plastic bindings. You can use whatever terminology you want for it, but essentially that's what it is. It's fancy plastics, and that stuff tends to not expand and contract quite at the same rate as what wood does. So it's some's worse than others, and we've seen, especially throughout like the 1970s getting into the 1980s, a lot of binding issues, especially on old, real curvy Guilds that had those real dramatic waist curves to them. That binding that they would put in there oftentimes would pull away from those curves just because it couldn't handle the stress of that bend for a long period of time. So like I said, that just makes me think of Michael Millard. I am a big fan of natural wood bindings if you have binding on that particular area of the guitar at all. For those reasons, and quite honestly, I just prefer the more, what I deem as more sophisticated aesthetics of natural wood bindings. I would never be one to turn down a grained Ivoroid bound D28, HD28, D45. Obviously, there's a context in which those bindings are right. But for myself, you asked, what do you like? That's what I like. I like the wood stuff. When I see a nice curly maple, there's just something to it. It's wood on wood. It makes sense, and I like how it looks. I like how it feels. One guy's opinion, at least.
Micah Fanfare was asking if the Santa Cruz mid-tension strings are lower in overall gauge than average set of mid-tension strings. Or medium gauge strings.
And tell me the name of this.
Formica Fanfare.
Formica Fanfare asks, thanks for all the questions, by the way, Formica Fanfare. We appreciate that. Asks, are the Santa Cruz mid-tension parabolic strings, are they
lower in tension than an average?
Lower in tension than an average medium gauge set? I would say barely. But if you can tell the difference, I would be impressed. Santa Cruz has kind of gone out of their way to make that feel as familiar to a medium gauge set of strings as they can, because those are the strings that they'll load onto their dreadnoughts, their slope shoulder Ds, their larger body guitars. Essentially, anything that's kind of larger than an OM is going to have those mid-tension strings on it from Santa Cruz. They very deliberately go out of their way to say, ignore the gauges, pay attention to the tension on the strings, and that's kind of the where the magic sauce is. Frankly, I don't care about the tension. I mean, obviously I care about the tension. I don't care about the gauges or what they read out at as far as the actual numbers go. I know that those strings sound awesome. They feel awesome. They last me longer than my standard phosphor bronze D'Addario strings, which were previously my go-to all the time. So I love those Santa Cruz strings a lot, and if you haven't tried them, I would enthusiastically encourage you to get a set or two of them and try them on whatever guitar you're used to playing. So. Angel is asking if a word that for me again. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'll get these one of these days.
Tighter grain, or do you think a tighter grain / more figured Adirondack top is tonally louder or better than a Sitka top?
Angel asks, is a tighter grained, more highly figured Adirondack red spruce top, is it tonally better or louder than a Sitka spruce top? And I would say, in general, whether that's a tight-grained or a highly figured Adirondack spruce top, in general, an Adirondack spruce, red spruce top, will be louder than Sitka spruce in general. And again, that's based on my experience. Whether or not it's highly figured, whether or not it's the tightest grain that I've ever seen, I don't think will necessarily play a huge role in the overall tonality or the overall volume output of that Adirondack spruce top. I've played some, frankly, pretty freaking ugly with run out, with weird grain, weird figure, mismatched figure Adirondack tops that were rip-roaring monsters that sounded ridiculously huge. Weren't necessarily gorgeous to look at, but certainly gorgeous to listen to. So the aesthetics of a top certainly do not inherently make it better sounding or louder. Absolutely not at all. In fact, makes me think of when Dana Bourgeois built me my OM Bearded Hog. I asked for an Italian spruce top, and oftentimes when folks have a bespoke guitar built for themselves with a European spruce top, one of the first things that follows that is make it the cleanest freaking looking top that has ever been pulled out of a log, which is tempting, because European spruce, that beautiful tight grain, real white color to it, it's tempting to fall for that. But Dana went out of his way to say, some of the more explosive sounding and responding tops that we have here, at least in the European spruce world, tend to be ones that have a little bit more prominent grain, especially out towards the lower bouts. They're not necessarily the most consistent in their width of grain all the way throughout the top. And I would say everything that he explained was truly realized in the result of that guitar. Couldn't think of that word. Good question.
JG's got another big one.
JG.
Big enchilada right here.
Big enchilada from JG. What do we got?
How much does the tone come from the wood versus the construction?
Fantastic question. JG asks, how much tone comes from the wood versus the construction? Boy, somebody, it may have been my buddy John Kaywell, actually, that we were talking about. And he had a really, I think it was John, and I apologize if it was somebody else and I'm picking on him, but somebody had a really good breakdown of, it's this percent wood, this percent input from the builder, and this percent design. And man, I wish I had remembered exactly what that formula was, because it sure sounded right, whether it was actually right or not. But you know, you are missing a key element in the conversation, is the design of the guitar. You know, you can have mahogany and spruce guitar OM that's going to be super different than a dreadnought, obviously. Boy, I'm going to say a solid. I don't even want to answer that question.
That's like Pandora's box, dude. Yeah.
Congratulations, JG. You have broken me. I don't know how to answer that. It would take me some time to think about that to make an educated response, and me just spouting something off for the sake of pretending to have an answer right now is not doing any favors. Let me think about that, and I promise you, tune in next week and I will give a shout out to you and have a much more, hopefully eloquent, but at the very least more thought out response to that question. We'll make this a to be continued. Thank you. We're going to go back to the standard OM here, I think. Real quick.
Caesar 1997 wanted to know if you'll be playing your new Ryan in any upcoming videos.
Caesar 1997 asks if I'll be playing my new Ryan guitar in any upcoming videos. Thank you for asking, and I sincerely appreciate the interest there. I have to just say before I respond to your question, having this Ryan guitar delivered that I received this past week has been almost beyond what I imagine it's like to have your first child. In the amount of phone calls, emails, congratulations, how is it, when are you bringing it over to my house, when can I come over to your house to play it, is it in the shop right now because I'm standing outside the back door knocking on it, no one's let me in yet. Everyone that I can think of has been inquiring about that guitar, so it's been a lot of fun so far. And I'll tell you what, because the past few days I have not let it get very far away from me, we're going to play it right now. Oops. This just happened to be sitting over there. I think I've got it in something goofy. Oh yeah. I hate to admit, these strings are already showing signs of wear because I've put quite a few hours into this. Actually, even just last night. As you can hear, It's amazing. That's sustain. Yes, indeed.
Dan B was curious if you have nails on your right hand.
I have nails on both hands. Tell me that name again. I'm sorry.
Dan B.
Dan.
He's curious about your picking hand. If you had longer nails or not.
Dan B asks about my nail length. I tend to keep a very, very short nail, just enough of an edge there to give me a little bit of bite, but not much longer than just your regular old nail length on my other hand. Not much longer than that at all. So I've really actually tried to grow my nails out, and it's not so much that I can't because they're brittle. It's I can't get used to the feel of just a hard nail on a steel string or whatever. I just can't. It doesn't feel right to me. It feels disconnected. I've tried thumb picks. I've very briefly tried finger picks. Not for me. I wish I could make a thumb pick work so I could do some of those crazy harmonics a little easier, you know, up the neck, the artificial harmonics or whatever, but I'm not quite there yet. Mostly bare flesh with just an edge of a nail to give it some little bit of clarity, but you'll notice there are a lot of players out there far more qualified than I that do use longer nails, but they tend to have a lot more attack off the just the brightness of the string, and just for the way I play, I don't quite prefer that brightness there. I like a little more organic kind of a sound. When I don't know that you can get much more organic than human skin.
Formica and KG were both curious about the bevel and the sound ports on it.
Yep.
How much do the flutes increase player experience?
Varies a little bit from guitar to guitar. JG and Formica Fanfare asked about the effects of the forearm bevel here on the Ryan guitars coupled with the acoustic flutes, which hopefully, switch that camera angle there for me if you would please. You can kind of see the reflection of the lights off of those acoustic flutes there. Those are literally carved into the guitar. You can see into the guitar from those holes. So what this is a very elegant, basically sound port. A lot of times you'll see a sound port, you know, somewhere up on the upper bout or, you know, somewhere up here on a, you know, nice high-end acoustic guitar. Kevin Ryan engineered these acoustic flutes into the bevel, so it's kind of an all, just sort of a built-in thing that just is there. Aesthetically, it is awesome. It is just awesome. You almost have to get one in your hands just to see how perfectly this is all carved, how they get in there and polish and buff all of this to that perfect mirror finish. I do not know, and I hope that I can convince them to tell me how they do that someday, but beautiful execution here. And ultimately, you know, some guitars, all the Ryans that we've had in here with acoustic flutes, you can hear something coming out of that, but some push more sound out than others. Some has a brighter sound, some have a bassier sound that's just, you know, lower end frequency that comes out of those ports. I'm very happy with how this guitar sort of behaves in that regard, because it's very active. You can really hear and almost kind of feel what's going on in just as from the player's perspective. The other day on the unboxing video that we recorded was the first that I really was like, whoa, you know, this guitar certainly is active in with those flutes happening there, but it gives the player a greater sense of the low end that is present in the guitar, at least in this specific guitar. I can speak to the forearm bevel in general. If you just ignore the acoustic flutes there, the bevel in general is my favorite bevel that's out there, just in terms of design. And again, forget about the flutes. We're not even thinking about those right now. Just the placement of the bevel, the angle at which it sits. It's perfect for me, at least. And what I like about it is not only the comfort, but it also keeps your forearm off of a very active and lively vibrating redwood top in this particular case. So kind of allows that top to not be dampened by your arm hanging over it and dampening that portion of the upper bout, which is nice. So it's, again, you can feel it. It's got some great resonance to it, and the sustain, I think, is an obvious after effect of the resonance that a guitar like this has. Awesome. A lot of depth in that sound. you folks happened to miss the unboxing of this guitar from a few days ago, and this is news to you, what we've got here, I was just absolutely blessed to have my friends at Ryan Guitars build this guitar for me. This is a Paradiso Grand Concert with just woods that I do not deserve, but somehow ended up with. We've got a Moonglow sinker redwood top on this guitar. You can see almost a natural type of a sunburst that it kind of has, darker around the edges. You can see that's not any finish treatment that's been done. That is absolutely natural to the wood itself, with striking, gorgeous Brazilian rosewood on the back and sides. It's so polished, it is literally a mirror. So I'm sorry if you can't get, you can kind of see it there. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Very, very nice stuff. But some cool inlay work here in terms of on the fingerboard and also around the rosette of this guitar. I absolutely adore it. Like I said, I put a number of hours on it even just last night, so very inspiring instrument already. And honestly, I could spend probably just as much time gawking at a guitar like this as I would enjoy playing it. But yes, to answer your question, we're going to do a kind of a full little show and tell demo on. Thanks, dog. We're going to do like a full show and tell on this guitar. I'm going to indulge myself. Sorry, but I'm going to. Love it. Thanks for asking about it. Like I said, I don't let it go too far away from me at this point, at least. Okay, we're going to do a quick playthrough, one more playthrough on each of these Jewetts that we were kind of focusing on this morning. Again, if you're just joining us, I hope not, because we're probably not going to be with you a whole lot longer. If you are just joining us, we're taking a look at a couple just received this past week. Jeff Jewitt guitars, couple of beautiful OM guitars. This is the standard OM European spruce, sinker mahogany on the back and sides, bound in a nice curly maple there. Amazing sounding guitar. Great woody mahogany sound. Play that same thing on the other guitar here. This is also an OM, a little bit different configuration though. You can see we've got the beautiful Venetian cutaway here, nice soft cutaway, and this has a noticeably deeper body on this guitar. Still has that same beautiful curly maple on the binding of the body and the neck. Let's take a listen. Great sound. Awesome. Well, folks, if we don't have any more grill comments, then I guess I'm going to leave. So thank you all so much again for joining us today. It's been fun talking about a couple killer OMs. Of course, if you folks have questions, beyond this live stream here, always shoot us an email, give us a call. We're happy to, we're happy to talk about guitars off camera too. This is probably fair to say. So give us a ring if there's anything on the wall you want to know about, anything that I've played that you want to know about. We're happy to, help you folks out and get some of these gorgeous guitars out into the wild for folks to enjoy. So that's really what it's all about. So make some music with them. Speaking of which, I hope you folks are all able to make a bit of music this weekend, and more importantly, get some smoky meats out there on top of a fire, I hope. And as always, come prepared with your grill stories next week, because I want to know all about them. And I'm going to play all the same riffs again next week. So join us again. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll catch you next time around.